The plasma rounds screamed overhead, turning the night sky into a canvas of violent orange and electric blue. Amina pressed herself against the crumbling wall of what had once been a school, her breath coming in short, controlled bursts. In her arms, a Telkari child no more than 4 standard cycles old whimpered softly, its crystalline skin flickering with fear-induced bioluminescence. "Shh, little one," Amina whispered, her voice steady despite the chaos. "We're almost there." Behind her, 17 more children huddled together, a mixture of species from across the outer rim. Telkari, Vrexian, a pair of Mothkin siblings, even 2 human children she'd found wandering alone. When the Kragoth invasion force had descended upon the colony world of Keshar 7, they hadn't discriminated. They'd simply destroyed everything in their path. Most adults had fled to the evacuation zones. But in the confusion, in the terror, children had been left behind. Scattered. Lost. Amina had been a relief worker, not a soldier. But when she'd heard the crying from the burning apartment complex, when she'd seen the small shapes running through the smoke, something ancient and immovable had awakened in her chest. Something that said, "Not on my watch." A low rumble drew her attention to the left. From the shadows emerged a creature that made even the bravest soldiers hesitate, a juvenile Kashari lion, its 4 eyes glowing amber in the darkness, its muscular body rippling with predatory grace. These apex predators had evolved alongside the colony's settlers, but remained wild, dangerous, unpredictable. The children gasped. One of the Vrexian young ones began to cry, but Amina saw something different. She saw the way the lion's ears were pinned back, not in aggression, but in fear. She saw the trembling in its legs, the way it kept looking back toward the burning district, where the Kashari prides made their dens. "Sahar," Amina said softly, remembering the name the local children had given this particular cub. It had been born near the colony, had grown up watching humans from a distance. "You're scared too, aren't you?" The lion Sahar took a step forward, then another. Its massive paw pads made no sound on the rubble-strewn street. The children shrank back, but Amina held her ground, slowly extending one hand. "We're all trying to survive," she said. "You want safety. So do they. We can help each other." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Sahar's nose touched Amina's palm, cold and wet. The lion's eyes met hers, and in that gaze, Amina saw something that transcended species, a desperate, fierce need to protect, to survive, to find sanctuary in a world gone mad. Another explosion rocked the street behind them. Debris rained down, and the children screamed. "Move!" Amina shouted, scooping up 2 of the smallest children. "The overpass now." They ran, 17 children and 1 human, stumbling through smoke and fire. And beside them, keeping pace, ran Sahar. The Kragoth had advanced their battle line. Automated war machines prowled the streets, their sensors sweeping for life signs. Amina knew the route to the evacuation point, 3 kilometers through the industrial district. But the children were exhausted, terrified, slowing down. A war machine rounded the corner ahead, its weapon systems charging with a rising whine. Sahar roared. The sound was primal, earth-shaking, the kind of roar that spoke of millions of years of evolution, of a predator that feared nothing. The war machine's sensors locked onto the lion, identifying it as the primary threat. That was its mistake. While the machine focused on Sahar, Amina grabbed a piece of reinforced pipe from the rubble. She'd been a relief worker, yes. But she'd also been born on Earth, on a world where humans had clawed their way to the top of the food chain not through strength, but through stubbornness and creativity. "Hey!" she shouted, drawing the machine's attention. When it turned, she hurled the pipe not at the machine, but at the exposed fuel line of a damaged hover transport beside it. The explosion wasn't massive, but it was enough. The machine staggered, its targeting systems disrupted. Sahar didn't hesitate. The lion leaped, 400 kilograms of muscle and fury, tearing into the machine's sensor array with claws that could rend steel. It wasn't enough to destroy it, but it bought them time. "Run!" Amina screamed, and the children ran. They made it to the industrial district as dawn began to break. Amina's legs burned, Her lungs ached, and every part of her body screamed for rest. The children were in worse shape, some could barely walk. But ahead, through the smoke, she could see it. The evacuation point. With its shimmering emergency shields and the blessed sight of rescue transports. One final street. One final push. The Kraguth bombardment had intensified. The entire city block ahead erupted in flames. There was no way through. Amina's heart sank. They'd come so far, so close. Sahar moved in front of her, positioning itself between the children and the flames. The lion looked back at her, and Amina understood. "No," she said firmly. "We do this together, or not at all." She studied the burning street. Her human brain evolved for problem-solving, for finding patterns, for surviving against impossible odds, working frantically. There, a drainage tunnel, its entrance half collapsed, but still passable. It would be dark, cramped, terrifying for the children, but it would lead beneath the flames. "Follow me," Amina commanded, her voice carrying the kind of authority that made even alien children obey instinctively. She dropped into the tunnel, and one by one, the children followed. Sahar hesitated at the entrance, too large to fit comfortably. The lion could run, could find another way, could save itself. Instead, Sahar squeezed into the tunnel, belly dragging on stone, protecting the rear of their desperate caravan. The tunnel was everything Amina feared, dark, suffocating, filled with the sounds of crumbling infrastructure and distant explosions. Children cried, some froze in panic, but Amina kept moving, kept talking, kept promising them that safety was just ahead. And behind them, whenever a child stumbled or fell, there was Sahar gently nudging them forward with a massive head, using its body to shield them from falling debris. When they emerged on the other side, the evacuation point was in chaos. Soldiers were loading the last transports, preparing to abandon the planet. "Wait!" Amina screamed, waving her arms. "Children here! We have children!" A Vrexian officer turned, saw the bedraggled group, and immediately began barking orders. Soldiers rushed forward, gathering the children, checking them for injuries. One of them raised a weapon at Sahar. "No!" Amina threw herself in front of the lion. "This one's with us." The soldier hesitated, looking between the human and the predator that should have been her enemy. "Ma'am, that's a—" "I know what it is," Amina said quietly. "It's one of us. It protected them. It brought them home." The officer studied her for a long moment, then lowered his weapon. "Get them all on the transport. Now!" As the ship lifted off, leaving the burning world behind, Amina sat with Sahar's head resting in her lap. The children, all 17 of them, plus the lion cub that had refused to abandon them, were safe. A Telkari medical officer approached, scanning the group. "I don't understand," she said, her translator rendering her confusion in precise standard. "The statistical probability of this many juveniles surviving that war zone is essentially zero." Amina looked down at Sahar, then at the sleeping children around her. She smiled tiredly. "You want to know the secret?" she said. "Humans don't give up on kids. Ever. We'll walk through fire, face down war machines, make allies of predators, whatever it takes. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you find others who feel the same way." She scratched behind Sahar's ears. The lion rumbled contentedly. "Doesn't matter if you're human or Kashari or anything else. When children need protecting, some of us just can't walk away." The medical officer looked at her datapad, then back at this impossible human and her even more impossible companion. "I'm putting that in my report," she said softly, "so people understand what you did today." Amina shook her head. "What we did, all of us," as the transport jumped to hyperspace, carrying them toward safety, Amina closed her eyes. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new fears. But today, 17 children and one lion cub had crossed the war-torn streets and found their way home. And that, she thought as sleep finally claimed her, was enough.